My friends, in the event that you are new to this wonderful card game and you have not yet signed up for a UGN Play account, you can now sign up with my exclusive referral code Alliteration and get yourself 50 bonus loyalty points for free, as well as additional loyalty points for every event that you play in within my referral code period. Why do you need these, you might ask? Well, loyalty points can be used to redeem free promotional cards in the mail, as well as other exclusive items coming in the future. The bonus points from using my code are enough to redeem almost any promo card right off the bat, and having your UGN account is going to allow you to accrue and track more and more as you go through your hero or villain's journey. If free cards and progression all sound super appealing to you, the links for all of this are going to be in the description below. Now, let's get on to the video. Welcome, my friends, to another Alliteration gaming video. My name's Levi, and it's Wednesday, so it's time for some Wealthy Aspirations. If you're new here, this is our little Market Watch series where we go over TCG players set by set, rarity by rarity, and check out all of the interesting fluctuations going on in the market. If you're not new here though, you already know all of that, and it's time to get into some market watching. Starting off with set 3, our secret rares aren't looking like anything too special, just kind of like slowly falling pennies by pennies. These are definitely fun cards to mess around with, but not any that are going to find their way into any serious decks anytime soon. Moving into our set 3 ultra rares, Twisting Azure is kind of working its way up to 10 bucks. Makes sense. Tokoyami cannot stop winning events. Stun Grenade looking good as well. Piercing Needle we saw kind of have a crazy buyout last week. It was like 15 bucks for a while. Now it's starting to regulate back down to 12. We'll see if it ever gets any lower than this. Other than that, though, we have our couple like $4 or $5 cards and our $3 cards, and then the penny cards. Going into our XRs, our XSRs, still holding about 40, which is not super bad. 25 on Azure and 33 on Needle. These have been our two big ones since the set came out. They're still holding strong. Again, Twisting Azure, I think you just got to keep an eye out on, because if Tokoyami keeps winning every single Nationals, this only has room to go up. Same for Ojiro and any cards he uses. He's been a big performer lately. Stuff like our really good starter deck XRs are still holding strong. Ignited Arrow was fighting some regulation, but it looks like it's been bought out all the way back down here now. Blood Moons and Somnambulism's absolutely tanking. These are just getting cheaper and cheaper. Some of our decent characters are holding okay prices, always around 10 bucks. Erasure Binding was also regulating, and then it looks like it's been bought out up to 20, and it was like bought out to like 28 over the last weekend, and then has been regulating down from there. So these really good starter deck XRs, man, you really can't sleep on. If they give you an opening, you gotta go for them. Man, really crazy cheap prices. Stun Grenade XRs for 12 when the normal is 8. That's just crazy, man. That just feels like an auto buy. I don't think this number will last very long. Either that or the UR is going to get way cheaper, but I don't think that's going to happen. Same for Infiltration, man. 5 bucks on the regular, 10 bucks on the XR is just like the decision is just made for you, man. Some of the other really good starter deck XRs, stuff like Binding Cloth Precision, Binding Cloth Whiplash, some of these really good attacks are trying to make their way down there. Some of our more tech XRs, some of these like weaker XR URs, just so cheap, man. We're still living in the world of these being so cheap. Arctic Conflagration being up to 25 bucks. That one's been bought out. Yep. I mean, makes sense. Like I said, these really good starter deck XRs, when they give you a window, you've got to take it. And then, man, so much crazy cheapness going around here. Easily Excited for 5 bucks is crazy. Exhausted for 4 bucks is crazy. Suyu and Tokoyami just keep like dominating events. It's crazy that they're really good XRs from this new set are so cheap. Frozen Slash, I think, is one that will find its way back up there, going from a market price of 4, sitting at 8 now. This could just get really crazy. This could get out of hand out of nowhere. Basic Training 5 bucks, but only 3 listings. I think keep an eye on Basic Training and Easily Excited. These really busted zero diffs that a lot of the meta decks play, especially Tokoyami. Really, all of the Chaos XRs, I think I would keep a solid eye on. All of the Endeavor deck stuff is pretty cheap. Those symbols aren't making too much waves with those cards anyway. Like, Earth is the best symbol in the game right now. However, they don't really play a lot of those Endeavor deck cards. Those cards are much more suited for the the good fire builds, which are kind of few and far between right now. Keep an eye on Snack Time. Snack Time should be way more expensive, but it's really like the good fire builds, which are few and far between right now, and like the niche evil builds use a lot of those Endeavor cards. So his starter deck is just a lot less valuable. Whereas like the Eraser one, water's just everywhere, and people really like the Void symbol and a lot of those attack packages. So in general, it's just good stuff to keep an eye on, but it makes sense as to why they're not going super crazy. And then everything else from here on out is still just tech territory. $5 for Grimace XR is crazy. I still don't know why this sits down here. I don't know why it's never gotten a market price. I'm a boomer. I don't understand how TCG player works, but I do understand that $5 is a great price for Hulking Grimace. Going into our promos here, Season's still 17, down from its like 20-ish average. This is not going to change for a long time. This is like the best card in the format right now. And then for the same reason, Chivalrous Competitor is going to be expensive for a while because it's so good against this card. It was starting to regulate at 10 bucks. Now it looks like with only 2 listings, it's kind of been bought back out. I don't think this is going to change for quite a while, especially as people stop opening the set, as all the chrome rares start to be found, and people are just less and less interested in opening a not extremely valuable set. Otherwise, everything looks pretty normal over here. Nothing too crazy going on. Some cool cards like Evil vs. Good's been seeing a lot of niche play in these Chaos decks. Petty Squabble, keep an eye on. Pretty much all of the good Earth Kirishima decks and Chaos Tokoyami decks play this card. It's a really important piece of the format right now, and it's one of the reasons why Chaos Tokoyami is so strong. I would keep an eye on it, man. I don't think $8 is... It could stay at 8, but I could also see it going real crazy real soon. Set 2 Secret Rares, nothing crazy going on here. These are still just El Cheapo, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. Our URs is same story as always. Exciteds are 20 bucks. These are like 5 bucks. Everything else is just $1 or $2 at the very most. And I wouldn't look for most of these to really change anytime soon. I think these 3 are still the main ones that see play. And none of these see play in like hardcore meta decks right now. They're really good cards in really solid like A tier decks, but none that are standing at like the top of the tables, right? The air decks that would abuse this card aren't really running around. The death decks and fire decks that use this card are very cool, but they're not like cream of the crop right now. And then the life symbol is just kind of really taking a back seat right now in this format, even with how crazy good a card like Excited for Blood is. And then going into our XRs for set 2, we have one Go for the Win listed at 20 bucks. Finally, people have opened the fabled unlimited Go for the Win XR. Some of our characters looking decent. Toga and Dabi still decent. Stain and Shoto not so much. Double Jab XRs are so cheap. High value target still looking reasonable. Really just seeing like, I mean, the characters, right? The character XRs are nice. Like those are like crazy. It's crazy that like $3 or crazy that $9 is like one of the better XR prices you can pull, but that is the set 2 world we live in. Force and Surrender, keep an eye on. Very relevant card right now. Every Earth deck has got to play that card to fight Tokoyami as the probably most dominant deck in the format right now. Keep an eye on Force and Surrender. Everything else not really too crazy. Surviving the Finals, Ice Light, are good, nice good solid pieces that do get shiny. Water decks are real, right? Water Asui is, I think, probably one of the 5 best decks right now. Struggling with studies, you got to keep an eye on, man. This is gonna go out of style so fast. $5, you're gonna be wishing this was $5 in a couple weeks. I promise you, man. Struggling is like one of the best cards in the format right now because it stops seizing the advantage and it gets played up 4 copies in basically every Water Asui deck or just Water deck in general and every Chaos Tokoyami. It's a very important card right now. By a similar vein, Graceful Maneuvers could see some more play. It does see a lot of play in the Water decks for sure. Chaos Bird, not so much, but if other Chaos builds start to rise up, it could be one to keep an eye on. New Training and Floating are probably going to be super cheap till the end of time because they have their national promo versions now. Everything else is pretty much either hardcore tech territory, a lot of alliteration going on there, or simply doesn't see play in like meta decks, or just doesn't look very different, right? Like it's a rare, like Cheerful Uppercut is a great card, but it's a rare that just gets a slightly different foil pattern. So once again, you're not going to see a lot of movement and fluctuation on those. And going into our set 2 promos, RLE Exciteds are starting to kind of creep their way back up there. Aside from that, our others still look good. These are still our good all-stars from the Gen Con lineup. All of these other RLEs holding strong. It looks like the numerically speaking, these are trying to get lower and lower too. Only 2 listings for Starlet, 4 for Instant Explosives, 4 for Manly Passionate Guys, 3 for Cheerleaders. Holy cow, Cheerleaders go all the way up to 34, man. People were buying these like crazy for like 15, 16 bucks over the last month or so. You missed the window, man. Cheerleader, too important of a card against stuff like Tokoyami. I would keep an eye on the Ruins too. I think that's the main reason why like the normal ultra rare and XR Ruins stay so cheap, because this version exists. I think this version looks a little goofy personally, but if this is what people prefer, this is what's going to go up as Tokoyami dominance continues. Lineages are down hardcore. Student of the Arts are at a reasonable 20 bucks, but keep an eye on them, man. The Ojiro Lovers has really been coming out in these last couple nationals, and even though it's not making as many waves as some of the other decks, you still got to keep an eye on it. All of these provisional promos are dirt cheap except for Waylay. Waylay being the most competitive, the most meta one. Seen a lot of play in those Void discard decks and a lot of play in Death Ochako 2, one of the premier decks of the format right now. So keep an eye on the waylays. I don't think they're going to give you a great buy window anytime soon. I think 20 bucks for waylays is just probably the world you're looking at right now. And then we have some stuff for the Nats promos as well. We got the new training methods for 50, the choosing the heroes for 10, the floatings for 40. Pretty much all of these have been getting bought for like 15 to 20. I don't know where the charged up is, but pretty much all the national promos have been getting bought for like 15 to 20 bucks on all the Facebook groups. So take all of these numbers with a grain of salt. I don't think any of them is worth more than 20, and I think the niche ones like hero name and charged up are probably more so in the $10 range as well. Going into our set 1 area now, the secret rares, beautiful as ever, beautiful as ever. 5% has kind of been slowly giving a little bit as it closes more to $20 range, but man, Nitro is just trucking and trucking. It doesn't want to go anywhere. If anything, it only wants to find 30 bucks more and more. Really good card. Even though Fire Tokoyami has kind of fallen off in favor of the Chaos builds, this is still a very versatile card, and just being a set 1 secret rare, it'll always be a little harder to get. In our set 1 ultra rares, we have some pretty nice things going on. Heatwave was bought out to like 45. It's starting to find a bit of a reasonable number over here. Navels are 5, Ice Storms are 8, Texases are 9. Other than that, nothing too crazy going on here. Pretty much the same stuff as last weekend. Things to keep an eye out for. Soundwave has 68 listings at 50 cents, so I don't know if it actually has room just based on how oversaturated it is to go anywhere anytime soon. But Jiro has been killing it at these nationals, so maybe keep an eye on Soundwaves. Ruin, I would say keep an eye on Ruin as Tokoyami continues to win everything. But I think people probably just prefer the RLE version, the grand majority, so this one might not go anywhere. Into our XRs, of course, always the most interesting segment of this series. XSRs are hot. Hardened Jabs are like actually regulating at like 50 bucks, which is just absolutely insane. XR Heatwaves are real big too. XR Indiscriminates and XR Ice Storms looking more reasonable than some of these other ones on the market. The Destins are staying crazy. The Naval Lasers are actually relatively cheap. The Summon Dark Shadows, keep an eye on these. I have seen meta adopting player after meta adopting player go, yeah, I'll just drop 120 on a set of these so I can play Tokoyami blinged out in tournaments. It's not an alien thing. I saw it happening at nationals back and forth. This might start to reach its crazy realm of like 50-60 bucks like it was for a good long time before Unlimited came out and they really regulated. Other than that, these are still crazy as they pretty much always are. XR sound waves I might see starting to find their way up, although they're at a pretty expensive price already, comparatively speaking, right? Compared to the 50 cents you could pay for the normal, this is actually expensive. Passing the Torches still only have 3 listings, man. Once those go, it's gonna be off to the races, man. Like, the life decks and the good decks aren't super hardcore meta right now, but eventually they're gonna find their way back there. Passing the Torch is always a card that can see potential play. Chops are looking really realistic as well. Those have been kind of a fall from grace over the last few months. It used to be one of those crazy daisy rare XRs. It can't be fixed, also pretty crazy as well. 25 bucks is a nutty price for these, but if that's what they've regulated at, that's what they've regulated at. The Latent Skills, not like a super noteworthy card, but it did get bought out a few weeks back, so seeing it come back down to 20 from being like a non-existent, non-real price is welcome to see. Self-sacrifices and tight lips still expensive too. I think like most of the really dedicated life players already have these blinged out at like the cheap prices of like the last month or so. So I don't think we're going to actually see these move because like no one new is like coming into those symbols and wanting to bling them out because they're not like super meta right now. So I think these like are worthy of this price, but they're probably not going to move for a while. Future charges still don't actually exist. Hilarious. $1 for Shoto 1 XR. That is one of the saddest things I've ever seen. $4 on these XR ruins. I think there are people out there who do really appreciate the UR ruin art over the RLE, so they might be out there. If you've been on the fence about getting these, could be a good time again as Tokoyami continues to crush events. Some nice kind of staples here, right? Like tapes and wall clings and manlies are cheap. Obviously these have, you know, RLE alternates, but they might not be the most realistic things to acquire, so these are not bad prices. I mean, $2 for XR wall cling, like, not taking the RLE into account is like insanely cheap. Tokoyami's character card XR is $5. That might not stick around, but again, I think there are a lot on the market. Like, there are a lot of like things happening in the meta that could be affecting these prices, but you have to take all of those thought processes with a grain of salt, simply because there's so much like oversaturation of most of these cards on the market that it takes like some real big fluctuations. I mean, Tokoyami won 2 nationals. Like, does he need to win all 4 to get ruins to be more than $4? Who knows, right? But it's something to keep in mind. Irrefutable Force of Nature and Release, especially Self-Assured too. A lot of these really good. Keep your eye on all these really good Chaos staples, guys. These real good Chaos staples. I kind of say it every week because like I have always loved the Chaos symbol, but the Chaos symbol is meta now. The Chaos symbol is very, very, very meta defining now between characters like Tokoyami and Midnight, and you've got to take that into account when you're thinking about all of those old, previously very underused XRs that no one had gone scrape up, or now going to be finding their way into the meta and getting real bought up. So you got to think about that. Most of these, though, I don't think you have to think about. Anything that's like $1 or $2, no matter how hard it gets picked up, is probably not really going to escape that range. So I think all of this is pretty easy pickings. Don't buy them unless you really need them. And then going into our set 1 promos, our RLEs are looking crazy as ever, man. Specialists are up to basically $100. It's actually insane. Then the Grav Lifts and the Jolts are a little more reasonable. The Walklings are a little more reasonable. I think the Walklings actually only have like 1 in stock at this $30 price point. Then they go $40 upwards from there. So I think like I've slowly been watching these number of listings kind of dwindle and dwindle. I mean, especially like 3 with the Specialist of Sound. I think now is like a really good time to, if you can, pick up RLE promos, and if you have them and you don't need the cash, hang on to them, because man, oh man, these numbers are slowly climbing up and are slowly climbing down. And the thing is, once they're gone, guys. Like no more of these will ever exist. The market's never going to acquire more of these. Like there are a limited amount of these that can be owned. Down into the realm of actual normal promo cards, Crow and Frog, keep an eye on this. This is only going to go up and up and up. Crow and Frog is like the reason like that Tokoyami and Asui are just so dominant right now. It's a 4-of staple in both of those decks. People want the shiny ones. Doesn't matter that you can redeem these. These are going to be expensive forever. Plus Ultras, same thing, right? Plus Ultras are just so good. Very, very versatile card, especially in the format. And a lot of the standard players need these this card as well to stop the action deck. Unless Jasko bans it anytime soon. Oh yeah, Crow and Frog might get banned, guys. If Crow and Frog gets banned, if you think Crow and Frog is going to get banned, sell your playsets. Sell your playsets and just redeem for some non-foil ones if you're truly scared of that. Otherwise, everything is $1 or below. Oh, here's Charged Up. Oh, I guess because it's a set 1 card, right? It has to go in here. That doesn't feel like it makes sense, but I don't run TCG Player. What do I know? But again, reasonable, like $10 price point. Guys, that's it for our market roundup, our Wealthy Aspirations episode this week of November 23rd. Honestly, I think this was a pretty short, sweet, and simple one. There's not really anything crazy going on. We didn't find any super duper nutty new buyouts. I think the global takeaway from this Wealthy Aspirations is just keep an eye on all of those really good Tokoyami and Asui cards, because those decks continue to dominate the format left and right. And then keep an eye on a lot of the new cards that are really relevant to the format, especially the promos. Season the Advantage, Chivalrous Competitor, and Petty Squabble I think are 3 cards that you've got to keep an eye on. If you plan on playing the best decks in the room anytime soon, you're going to need some amount of those cards. So get them before they get even crazier, because Nationals, we have even more Nationals coming up, albeit they're only 4-in ones, and then we have Worlds coming up. And unless Jasko neuters all of these really, really good decks, people are going to need these super duper good cards for Worlds. But I digress. That's all the time I've got for today's video. If you made it all the way to the end, thanks so much. And if you want to leave me some feedback, the comment section and the like and dislike buttons are waiting there, ready to be interacted with. And if you just want even more of what you saw, the subscribe button lets me jam all of my MHA CCG content into your newsfeed. You're talking gameplay videos, deck profiles, meta discussions, market watches like these, and of course, coverage of all of these big national events and Worlds events as they approach us. The most hype era the game has ever seen. The competitive season has been going crazy, and it's given me so much awesome content to churn out, and you guys are really, really loving it. The support for the channel lately has been just incomparable to any other previous era, especially like the dry spell of season 2. It's like looking at night and day, and I'm both so excited that there's interesting things to talk about in the game right now, and doubly excited that you guys care so much about hearing me talk about the game. So big thanks to you guys, just not only for watching this video, but just the massive support in general. We just smashed 900 subscribers, and I think the road to 1,000 is going to be so much fun. That's all the pleasantries for today though, guys. I've got to head out and work on some really, really cool other videos. This has been Levi, and I hope I see y'all in the next one.